The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Tuesday, the 18th day of March, 2025. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. I'm Jamal Hartman. She's Mia Chambray, and Maya Palacio will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in the news break brought to you by People's. How are you this fine Tuesday, Mia?
Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm really happy to be here. We're having Monday. We didn't do yesterday, so this is the first day of the Daily Hour for the week. So we're kicking it off. We're kickball changing it into the week, and it's such a beautiful day outside. So
it is. Well, you know, beautiful day helps the mood, man. And we're one actually. Spring starts this week, doesn't it?
Yeah, the 20th of May is the first day of spring. Yes,
May.
March.
Mixed up. Look at you getting your M's mixed up.
March. Yes.
We've got spring in a couple of days. You know what?
Yes.
Fall was my favorite season, and I was like, spring should be our favorite season. Then I thought, I'm like, no, a lot of people have allergies.
Well, that's true. I really love spring in Bermuda just because you can see like all the freesias coming in life. The longtails are all flying. The first cahao was born a couple weeks ago. We got the whales swimming by. I don't know. It just feels like really, I think Bermuda in so many ways is so magical. Like our nature is just so special.
You've been with
oh my God. Do you want to? Okay, quick story. I have been. I'll tell you how long ago it was. I went with some friends. We got in the look, audience. Good morning. If you remember this restaurant, please tell me your favorite sandwich order. We went to Hickory Stick. Okay.
Oh man, I remember Stick.
Oh gee, Hickory Stick. Got these big sandwiches, right? Ate them, then went whale watching. Oh no, that was a bad idea.
That became real food, huh? Yeah.
Became whale food. Yes.
Yeah. Hickory Stick sandwich is something you definitely don't want to give back up.
No, absolutely not. But they were so iconic. I can just think about it now. I love I honestly miss Hickory Stick. So
that was when I was eating mayo too, and they had this chicken salad sandwich that I used to like go crazy for around there, man.
Yeah. Oh man, I used to just get, and I don't really eat meat now, but I used to get like roast beef sandwich and oh my gosh, remember the ladies would write on it in the pen, and then you would like go to the side and like check. Honestly, it was so iconic. I really do miss it a lot.
Well, Traveling Trotty misses it too, and Charles said, you know, those wheels were chumming it up. Good morning to you, Kenton Trot, and Suzanne Ingham says, awesome Tuesday, Jamel and Mia. Allergies for me every day. I don't like end of May to end of October. The heat is too intense. I'm with you. I'm not a summer person either. But greetings, everyone. Thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome Omar Dill on from the Free Democratic Movement. We're going to be talking. Hey, look, we're a month on from the election, so we're looking forward to chatting with Omar to see the plans for the FDM over the next 3 to 5 years. The daily play is a remember when. All right. So, audience, please don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Folks, it's a daily discussion brought to you by our friends at Titan Express and Secure. I'll let you know what the question is after this.
The daily discussion is brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Visit TitanEXBDA.com, your leading tour and transport provider specializing in Black History tours throughout the island. And SecureBDA.com for all your property management, waste management, residential, and commercial trucking needs. Professional, punctual, and reliable service is our commitment to you.
All righty. Well, here's the question of the morning. 1 month ago today, there was a general election in Bermuda. 1 month ago today.
Wow.
What are your thoughts about government and politics since the election? Now, we know the House just reconvened, so there hasn't really been much action, but there are still things that have taken place. You had your cabinet names. You have a new deputy leader of the PLP. You've had the stories about Zane De Silva come out. You had the throne speech on Friday and the plans from the premier. You have people who've appeared like Bermuda Watchdog, which is sharing information about politics and governance. So with all that said, a lot has happened in that 1 month. What are your thoughts about the government and politics since the election? What are your thoughts? And for those who want to remain anonymous, you know how we get it. You can just hit that QR code. Hit that QR code if you want to tell us, do you have confidence in the government? Do you have confidence in the government? So for those who are unable to hit the QR code, you can also click this link. All right. You can click the link in the comments or if you're on YouTube or Facebook or the website. But you can click that link if you want to remain anonymous. But that question is, do you have confidence in the government? That's the QR code on the screen, and that's the link in the comments. Now, that said, again, question, what are your thoughts about government and politics since the election? And Charles H. Jeffs II, very good point. He said we have had some Chamber of Commerce days these past few days as well. We again, another big thing that was spoken about, the number of people who have left Bermuda, right? That's another important thing. A lot has happened in this 1 month. 1 month today since you all went to the polls. It is what it is. They like to say we have the results. We have to live with them for a very long time now. And when I say a long time, I'm not talking about 3 or 5 years. The result of what we do today may impact us for the next 20 to 25. And I think that's what people fail to realize.
Yeah.
5 years, it's a political cycle. That doesn't reflect the cycle of legislation and policy. So again, question of the morning, what are your thoughts about government and politics since the election? And do you have confidence in the government? Do you have confidence in the government? You got something for us?
Oh my gosh. Well, actually, it made me think about a Chinese proverb that I read or heard recently that it said, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. So it really just reflected on very much on what you just said. So the things that are happening today are absolutely going to affect us in 20 years. I personally don't have confidence in the government. I'm disappointed with the election results, although I am not disappointed in the Bermudian public because overall popular vote, if you put all the votes together of, everybody, the FDM, the independents, the OBA, actually people voted, quite with the popular vote that they actually didn't want the current government, but allows the system that we have set up. We have the government that we have, so we need to move forward with that. But I have been quite disengaged since I have to be perfectly honest, it kind of was very overwhelming. And I've been keeping my finger on the pulse through like the Bermuda Watchdog Instagram page. I did read the Chamber of Commerce piece, which I thought was absolutely brilliant. But I have not read the throne speech. I know I need to, but I just feel like I'm not ready for that.
Indeed. Audience, what are your thoughts? You heard Mia. She doesn't have confidence. She's become disengaged. I do wonder though, because Mia, that seems normal when people, especially politically, things don't go the way we want, we become disengaged, right? I would say it'd be pretty hard for the general public to say on a whole that they have confidence in government. Let's say even if you voted for whoever was elected, I think immediately following it, confidence may have dropped simply because of some of the stories that came out. Right? It's like, okay, well, this is alleged corruption. How am I supposed to trust that they're going to do what's in the best interest of the country and not themselves? So I get that. As far as the result, here's the thing. You all know me. I'm not down with socialism, conservatism, liberalism. I don't do the isms. I just want to see what I believe, because what I believe may be different from what everyone else believes. I would love to see what I believe is best for the country for the time. And I think based on the system, it doesn't look like Bermudians have a problem with the system, right? It seems like we're okay with the system. There's no uprising or anything. I would have loved to see a bit more balance in the results. 2511 doesn't allow us to keep people honest. And so I think that would be my disappointment. I would have loved to have seen maybe 1966 and whatever, but more of a balance and representation rather than straight up. But it's interesting because we had Dwayne Robinson on, MP Dwayne Robinson on 2 weeks ago, and I said to him, although the One Bermuda Alliance picked up a few seats, it seems the FDM is probably more likely to challenge the PLP in the future. And I think he gave the answer that just seemed obvious in saying, well, we're the ones that are the opposition. We picked up seats. And I don't think many people are looking long term and the long game. And part of that is, yes, the PLP won this election. The PLP won this election. But I always say elections are not won, they're lost. And I don't think the PLP necessarily won anything. I think it was more proof that the One Bermuda Alliance lost. It was more proof that the One Bermuda Alliance could not win. It's more proof that they probably would never win again. They, even on the PLP's worst showing, they couldn't really make a dent. And you have to ask yourself, okay, well, if the one FDM or any other political entity had enough time or gives themselves enough time and doesn't despair, they seem like they're the only ones able to connect with the Bermudian people and engage with Bermudians based on the approach that Bermudians seem to respond to. So very, very interesting. Audience, what are your thoughts, though? You're quiet this morning. What are your thoughts about government and politics since the election? We are currently today 1 month since the general election, the 2025 Bermuda general election. And also, do you have confidence in the government? Do you have confidence in the government? We put the QR code up for you. You can click that code. So far, 83% of you have said no. You have no confidence in the government. 80% of you. And then Suzanne Ingham says, government and politics. Government, no confidence. No confidence politics, she says. Anyone else? I mean, it's interesting because as a whole, I'd probably say no. But I do have confidence in individuals.
Yes, same.
I do have confidence in individuals to do their part. But as a whole, probably not. Yeah,
I agree with you. I do think some of the ministers that have put in, I'm interested to see. They have new minister. They're new to cabinet. They're new to politics, and they were voted in, and now they're going to be new to cabinet. So I'm interested to see what they do in their ministries, which I think could be really exciting. There's some really young, fresh faces that are leading the charge in some of the ministries, and I think it's going to be interesting to see what they do and how they do it. Could be I fingers crossed, legs crossed, eyes crossed, everything crossed that they do something really fresh and actually really surprise the public. I think that would be amazing to see that actually.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think it's an interesting time as far as politics and governance. I think right now is probably a time no one wants to govern because, at the end of the day, the government has to deal with what's going on outside of Bermuda, which impacts Bermuda a lot. So you've got president of the United States, Bermuda's biggest trading partner, probably not making things easier for Bermuda as far as trade, right? How does the government respond to that? You see the United States just created this, put out this list of countries that are gonna, basically have visa troubles, right? And it was 3 different tiers, and you saw some of our soon to be, I guess, CARICOM partners like St. Lucia and St. Kitts on that list.
Yeah.
How would things like that impact Bermuda? It's a lot. It's a lot to it, and I hope people are not becoming disengaged, because I think right now more than ever you probably need to be engaged and prepare for, and this is not fear mongering, but prepare for what could possibly come. Another thing that happened since the election, there was a report the other day where we've now reached, I think, 1,100 homeless in Bermuda. That's something. Is that going to get any better? Are we in a space? The government has touted lowering the cost of living by going to private business and grocery. Is that the way to do it? I mean, how's that going to impact their ability to keep people employed and the like? It's so much to it. And I think while I get people are upset or didn't get what they wanted, I don't think, and trust me, folks, I get it. It just becomes tiresome. I don't think becoming disengaged is the answer. Probably this is the time we all probably need to be as engaged as ever, more engaged than ever, because at the end of the day, the government is a reflection of us, regardless of who they are. So I think accountability, which we speak about all the time, we have to hold our, elected and appointed officials accountable and ensure that they're doing what's in our best interest. And we have to ensure that they're transparent in all of their dealings, right? Ensure that Bermuda doesn't lose out. So again, audience, question of the morning: what are your thoughts about government and politics since the election? And do you have confidence in the government of Bermuda? WKD Lama says, my confidence in individuals is diminishing as well. We are rudderless. And I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example of what I think. WKD Lama, correct me if I'm wrong, what you mean. And I'm going to call names. There are a lot of people who love Curtis Dickinson and would have loved to see Curtis Dickinson be the premier of Bermuda. But then I'll have people that'll say, no, I think he's an accomplice. And what do you mean he's an accomplice? Well, you don't just stay in a space where they don't respect you. And I'm like, well, maybe part of the change is to stay involved so that it isn't any worse. And I think what the public wants is they want to see what is being said and done to ensure that it's not just a placeholder. So I think that's what WKD Lamas could mean in terms of confidence in individuals diminishing, because they don't feel or see what they would expect of a person that they greatly support and want to be premier. I'm not picking on Curtis Dickinson, but that's just words to me when I bring him up to people.
Yeah, I agree. And I also think, do we have confidence in the government? Well, 83% seemingly no. But do we also have confidence in the opposition? I think that's a big thing to also consider. Because and if we're not in agreement with the government, how are we going to individually be accountable and then collectively support the opposition? So the FDM and the OBA and the individuals, the independents. So do we have confidence in the government? 83% say no. I say no. But do we have confidence in the opposition? That's a huge part of government governance as well. Do we think that the opposition are going to be able to hold the government's feet to the fire? That's a whole other thing, because we've seen now, as WKD Lama says, we are rudderless. I couldn't agree with that statement more. But now that we've got some really incredible candidates that came forward during the election, now that we're 1 month post-election, are they going to keep the flames to the fire, the feet to the fire? Are they going to keep the government's feet to the fire? And that's a whole other issue, because that is a great government. PLP were an incredible opposition. They were unbelievable. So how are we going to get back to that state, where we actually have people calling for accountability?
Well, and let me be clear. When I say government, I mean all of them, because
everybody, right?
The opposition does make up the government. But I think Mia makes a great point. I don't want us just to consider the elected folks as the government. This includes the FDM and independents. I mean, Juanita Crockle, I believe she said she's not going anywhere. So this includes their ability to hold people accountable. This platform, we have Omar Dill on this morning. Part of that is this platform exists to not just oppose, but support what is happening, right? And to remain relevant, to build the confidence with the general public that, though I was not elected, I'm still here to represent the constituents and the people of Bermuda and ensure that, they get what they deserve as far as what's beneficial. Let's go back to the audience. Again, audience, what are your thoughts about government and politics since the election? Do you have confidence in the government? Well, Suzanne Ingham says AI takes away jobs from people. Self-checkout at Linda's takes away a person's job. I'm not for that. People need to work. That's not true. Zach Munners actually came on here to address that. That's absolutely not true. He said when he came on his show that they haven't eliminated jobs. They just gave consumers an option. Now, could it? Yeah, it could. And at the end of the day, if I'm a business and I have to deal with a lot of the policies that are happening in Bermuda, I probably would have to go self-checkout. Because how am I supposed to survive as a business?
Well,
so I'm not businesses for trying to exist and feed themselves. I don't think all businesses are greedy. The other part of AI takes away jobs is, well, there was something in the newspaper from an exec from Excel the other day, Mr. Noel Pearman. I believe he spoke in the Royal Gazette about the possibility of jobs disappearing due to the due to AI taking entry-level jobs. So yeah, AI has the opportunity to take jobs, but maybe the answer to that is, inspiring children to learn coding, right? There may be an opportunity to do that. So WKD Lama just clarified saying in regard to confidence in individuals diminishing, says I'm correct. I would like to see what is happening externally in reference to what I said about Curtis Dickinson. Charles H. Jeffers II, he says, I think the one thing that has been highlighted with the recent election is that we don't have good data. Our voter registration list is a mess. We don't know how many Bermudians now live overseas. Yeah. That needs to be fixed. That needs to be tidied up. Yeah, I think we definitely have an issue there, which I think most politicians on all sides were very honest about. Suzanne Ingham says, I think they all should be fired. We need to start fresh. We pick the best. If they screw up, they will immediately be fired, and we will find the next best and continue on. I think that's the right to recall option we're talking about.
Yeah.
So I think someone might have promised that before. Chris Gauntlet says still here in 34, and that's absolutely good. That is amazing, because at the end of the day, the canvassing shouldn't stop at when the election takes place, right? It should be the beginning. And Suzanne Ingham says they teach coding in primary and middle schools. Absolutely, they should be teaching it, because again, that's the answer to AI as far as jobs and the like. Chris Gauntlet goes a step further, says not just coding, but all types of jobs come out of a condition where AI grows in significance. Indeed. All right, let's bring my applause in for Daily Hour Newsbreak. We've got a long conversation coming up with Omar Dill in a few, so you don't want to go anywhere, but let's show some love to Titan Express and Secure.
The Daily Discussion is brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Visit TitanEXBDA.com, your leading tour and transport provider specializing in Black History tours throughout the island. And SecureBDA.com for all your property management, waste management, residential, and commercial trucking needs. Professional, punctual, and reliable service is our commitment to you.
All righty, welcome back. Thanks again to all of you. If you haven't already, if you've appreciated the discussion this morning, make sure whatever your platform you're on, be it Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, X, or Instagram, make sure you give us a like, love, follow, share, subscribe. And if you want to be a member and get some exclusive content, make sure you join our YouTube channel as low as $2.99 a month. So just show us some love. We're going to bring Maya Palacio in for Daily Hour Newsbreak. After that, don't forget, we've got Omar Dill joining us. Stick with us. I can't hear. Hi, MP.
Hey, Maya.
She's on mute this morning. Oh, wow. We can't hear her. Wow. Hold up. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, sorry. I was trying to do a Maya impression. Sorry. How are you, MP?
I'm good. I'm good. My red mic wasn't on. That's my bad.
Oh, she was trying to trick us this morning, folks. She's what's it called? Pantomime? Like when your lips are moving and you're not really talking or something? Is that what it's called? The pantomime? You know that?
No. It's
when you're listening, but you're not really talking.
Ventriloquist. Are you a ventriloquist?
Well, right, ventriloquist. That's like the puppet people or something?
Yes.
Okay. See, I'm learning something today.
Yeah.
And how you feeling, MP? Well rested? Had a long weekend?
Pretty nice weekend. It's actually starting to get sunny out here in Toronto, so I've been able to go on some runs, which is really good. And congrats, today's the 11/11 episode as well. So like,
oh, right.
Numbers.
How did I not know that? Happy 11/11. Make a wish. I'm silly. I'm sorry. So I'm literally laughing. I'm sorry. What you got for us today?
Good morning, everyone. This is the Daily News Break brought to you by the good people at People's Pharmacy. So starting out on news this morning, you may have hinted at it a bit last week, but the Bermuda Tourism Authority has conducted an internal cultural assessment following concerns over high staff turnovers and the overall work environment of the BTA. While the assessment found some positives, such as strong motivation among employees and a good work-life balance, there were also critical areas needing much improvement. Here's the story.
Includes a company-wide survey, policy analysis, and confidential staff interviews. The BTA's culture health score was 57%, significantly below the 73% benchmark, highlighting concerns around leadership, accountability, and workplace dynamics. Employees described the culture with words like mistrust and domineering, citing a lack of accountability and inconsistent process for raising concerns. In their report, they listed out a number of key findings and recommendations under different topics which were questioned in the survey. For example, one key finding was employees identified a need for more transparency and accountability from leadership. This was demonstrated by the selection of gossip and not taking responsibility as traits to be stopped and posed the most risk to the BTA's workplace culture. And in response, their recommendations stated that leaders should establish clear expectations, measurable goals, and regular feedback loops help foster a supportive environment that encourages collaboration and creates a safe space for employees to admit mistakes and learn from them. The detailed survey included stats and data driven to highlight the cultural risks, the staff's outlook on the BTA, as well as the leaders and stakeholders. It further suggested things they wish to keep, stop, and start, as well as answers to multiple questions regarding the BTA. The results formulate a step towards addressing and working on recommendations for a better impact and work experience within the BTA.
I'm going to say those numbers, while they're bad, they're actually still misleadingly good. And let me tell you why. Because something that was said at the beginning of that story is about the amount of people who've left over the last couple of years. How many of those people were included in that survey? You feel what I'm saying? So if you're surveying the people who are still there, rather than including the people who've left, that number of 57% is probably closer to 18 to 20.
Yeah.
And I want people to like really grasp that, because it would be like us three in a company and Mia and I deciding to leave and Maya's staying, and Maya's the one who gives this great review. Well, the numbers are going to not be accurate, right? They're not going to reflect necessarily. You know what I'm saying? So I think the BTA still got one over with that. Even though they didn't do the report, it was done externally. They got one over because it did not include the many people who have left for whatever reason. And I'm going to be honest, audience, I don't think you all make enough noise about this. We seem to care about the public dollar and how our taxpayer dollar is spent and this and that about government. But I don't think we make enough noise about how the BTA literally takes our taxpayer funded dollars. I mean, they know how to party. I'll give them that. They know how to party. But it's one more thing I want to say about that, Maya, because you shared some numbers. You and Taylor shared some numbers from the BTA recently. And they've been running with what I told them to do 2 years ago and saying that, well, of course the numbers are going to be down. You don't have the big Fairmont Hotel anymore. The numbers will be down. Here's where the public needs to be very, 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 ask some questions. Remember what I used to say all the time when we first started this show? I used to say, tourism is what drives tourism is groups. BTA can claim, oh, numbers are up, this and that. Here's what I want the public to know, and please share this with, clip this, share it. This is free information. The only numbers that the BTA can truly claim are group numbers. If you want to see the impact of that organization, ask them to provide their group numbers. And since Hazel Clark and sports was so bad, don't include that. Tell them provide the group numbers to Bermuda, and then you'll see how every last dollar should be treated. They won't do that, but ask them how many group. That's the way to mind. Not cruise ships, and certainly not me and Maya and Mia bringing our friends to Bermuda. That's because of us. That ain't because of them. They're not coming because they saw a fish sandwich on a billboard, to quote the premier. All right, I'm done, Maya. I've got a lot more to say, but I know you got to.
We got a few more news pieces to get through. All right, so in other news, Bermuda may have a low risk of a tsunami, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't be prepared for it. That's why the Ministry of National Security is once again participating in the annual Carib Wave Tsunami exercise, testing our emergency alert systems and response protocols. But how prepared are we really? And did you know that you can actually take part in this event?
Imagine this, an earthquake strikes thousands of miles away deep under the Atlantic Ocean, sending waves racing towards Bermuda. It's a worst-case scenario, but one emergency teams need to be ready for. That's why on March 20th, Bermuda will participate in the Carib Wave 25, a region-wide tsunami drill. The simulation assumes an 8.6 magnitude earthquake off the Azores, triggering a test alert from the Bermuda Weather Service, the island's designated tsunami warning focal point. Minister of National Security Michael Weeks says while the likelihood of a tsunami impacting Bermuda remains low, our commitment to readiness must remain high. Government agencies like the Emergency Measures Organization and the Marine Operations Center will use this exercise to test their response plans. But here's what many don't know. You can take part too. Through the tsunamizone.org website, businesses, schools, and individuals can register to participate, practicing evacuation plans and ensuring their families know what to do in an emergency. Right now, Bermuda has 321 participants registered, the largest chunk coming from business, which is one Renaissance Re. In comparison, islands like Grand Cayman, with a similar population, have more than 8,700 participants. The question is, are we doing enough? Cayman, like Bermuda, has a very low probability of a tsunami. The key to surviving a tsunami is elevation. Knowing where to go and how to get there quickly could save lives. So, what is Bermuda's official tsunami response plan? We know there is one, as it'll be tested in this scenario. But unfortunately, while digging for research, we couldn't find it accessible for this broadcast, and we sent an email to Bermuda's Emergency Measures Organization requesting Bermuda's tsunami response strategies. However, in 2016, then Premier Michael Dunkley said it would not cost much for Bermuda to develop a clear tsunami action plan. Stating back in 2016, today's meeting was an opportunity for agencies to hear each other's preliminary plans on how they would handle a tsunami and to begin a dialogue. It is anticipated there will be little to no cost to put a national plan together. However, there will have to be extensive coordination and contingency planning to ensure full preparedness of all government services, companies, and community partners. This will have to be weighed against the backdrop of the unknown probability of a tsunami hitting Bermuda. As Carib Wave 25 approaches, the government says following the exercise, officials will conduct a virtual debrief on March 27 to review lessons learned and enhance Bermuda's tsunami response strategies. Until then, knowing the risks and taking part in these drills might be the best way to stay ready. And you can sign up as an individual
to take part.
Oh, I think we've got one person. Charles H. Jeffs II says he's going to sign up. That was scary. I'm sorry. I mean, that's no being real. Like that's a scary thing. I mean, Bermuda's only so big. When you hear about tsunamis hitting like Asia and so on, I think about size. Bermuda seems like it could get wiped out, the entire island. So I'm very interested to learn what the strategy is.
Yes, I actually went to see what the sign up requirements was for myself. So I was like, well, I want to be a part of this, because I saw it on other, obviously it's a global event, a lot of people could sign up. And so I was seeing other media organizations actually have the opportunity to, schools can do it, anyone can do it, anyone can sign up. So I was like, okay, I looked for Bermuda, and again, 300 participants just came from Renaissance Re. So honestly, big up to Ren Re, because I didn't know that we can actually be a part of it and take part. And then the rest came from government, and then 2 individuals for Bermuda. So I was like, there was no one from media organizations. I'm going to sign up and try to take part and see what's there. Most of it is exercises to do and be a part of. So that's kind of like the glimpse of training. But I was interested in one of the things that's the walk along to if it happens, will you go type thing. So that's what I'm more concerned about, to hear from our strategy here in Bermuda, because I was digging and digging and digging for about an hour, 2 hours, where is our strategy to find it? And obviously I see annually how we've been taking part in this, but that's how I find a strategy. So hopefully it gets sent so we can go through it together and see what updates they make come March 27th.
Great.
Yeah. But don't be too concerned, because it is a very, very low probability.
No, you already did it to me. You already did it to me.
I'm sorry. All right, so here's another story for you guys. In 1966, children were asked to imagine what life would be like in 2000s. The responses were surprisingly insightful, with many expressing concerns about a future controlled by machines, and also contemplating the mindsets of people in the year of 2000. This video is from BBC Archives. So let's take a look at it, and then I want to know what you guys' responses are to what they think the year 2000 is going to be.
I think it'll be people will be regarded more as statistics than as actual people.
I don't think it's going to be so nice. I think sort of all machines everywhere, everyone doing everything for you. You'll get all bored, and I don't think it'll be so nice.
I think it's going to be very boring, and everything will be the same. I mean, people will be the same, and things will be the same.
First of all, there's computers are taking over now. Computers and automation. And in the year 2000, there just won't be enough jobs to go around, and the only jobs there will be for people with high HQ, high IQ, who can work computers and such things. And other people are just not going to have jobs. There just aren't going to be jobs for them to have.
I mean, I didn't hear they said they'll have flying cars. That's what I was told when I was young. We'd have flying cars. If they have it on our roads, I can imagine. But I think it's accurate. I think it's almost like people today saying, speaking about AI, I think it's accurate. I think, it's why when I get in debates with people, I feel like so often we forget the human element, because we're not looked at as people, right? We're looked at as just numbers. So I agree with that as well. I don't think they said much wrong.
I know. How old were they? Pretty young.
They didn't say the ages, but they just said it was children. They were fairly young. And it's interesting, the first one was they figured people won't be regarded as people, but just statistics. I'm like, well, how true that has become.
True. Charles says, what year was it? You said 1966?
1966.
66.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, I'm going to close up for you here, but finally, just a reminder that we did have the reconvening of government with the new governor, Andrew Murdoch, citing the throne speech of our current government, the PLP government. So this week on the show, we will be providing some deep dives into, the promises made, the likelihood of accomplishments, and the possible achievements that could be reached for Bermuda. As for the weather, sunny periods with a couple of showers around. Winds are going to be a bit moderate today. Hopefully not going to be too much rain going on, and be easing up later in the evening. And we got a high of 72.
This governor fellow, His Excellency Andrew Murdoch, does he have like a family cat or a dog or anything? I feel like every time a governor comes, they speak about their family, their pet or whatnot. I haven't heard anything. Did he come alone?
I don't know. Yeah. I'll look into that for you.
Yeah, we need to know if there's like a first lady, a first cat, a first dog, something. All right. Mia, what you got days of the year?
Oh, days of the year. So we have 2 today. But the one that really stood out to me was it's National Gardening Day. So anybody have a green thumb in the audience? Tell us what you're growing or what you're picking. We have pineapples growing. We have little.
With that question, though, Mia, asking people what they're growing. I mean, it's still a PG.
Sorry,
it's illegal in Bermuda, you know.
Right. Okay. What fruits and vegetables are you growing in your garden? And we have a couple little mini victory gardens that James has built outside on our porches. They made them out of wine boxes that we upcycled. And so we have some pineapples growing, and we have some basil, and I think we also have some dinosaur kale. So what, you guys have anything growing in your gardens? Do you have gardens?
Did you not see my plant on Friday? Like, why you make that face, Maya?
I didn't see no plant. I'm sorry. Oh, you mean the one that the plant that you're trying to do the bonsai with? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What
Give
was
that
that about?
back to the earth.
It's coming back. It's coming back to life.
Oh, good.
Maya, do you have a green thumb?
I do. Not really out here in Toronto, but back home in Bermuda, my family, that's what we do.
Yeah,
my family has a big, huge garden, and my mom has a garden out by where she stays down in the east end of the island. So yeah, whenever I'm home, I assist. But out here, I just have some plants, but they're not providing any nutrients. They're just in the house. I guess oxygen.
Okay.
Dan Ingham says kale, basil, onions, potatoes, mint, pork, chard, garlic. Go on now, Suzanne.
Hey, Suzanne.
Walker says corn, broccoli, lettuce, sweet potatoes, peppers. I know where we can go shopping. Marquita Lee says broccoli, tomatoes, onions, thyme, spinach, sweet. All right, we got some. See, this is what I'm calling a community garden. So,
yes.
You know who to call in the audience. No, we did get an answer. I'd asked did the governor have like any, anything. So Charles is asking when it's coming on, but Misha Fabler, Senator Fabler says he has a cat. And Diane Elliott says there have been a few articles about his cat who was on a UK Muslim. Anyway, look, folks, I got a joke for you. Well, no, I don't have a joke, but I found my people. And if you ain't on my social media, you don't know what I'm talking about, but I found my people. Get ready to laugh.
What do you call an elephant that doesn't matter? What? An irrelevant.
How does the moon cut his hair? Eclipse it!
I was addicted to the hokey pokey, but I turned myself around.
What did the plate say to the other plate? What? Dinner's on me!
What kind of tree fits in your hands?
What?
A palm tree.
You guys, I found my people. I'm going to recruit me some friends like that today. I don't worry about you.
I don't think you can have a room full of views. I don't think you can take it.
You didn't find that funny, MP?
Maybe one. One was pretty funny.
One? Well,
the eclipse one.
I think the audience, you Karen and Renee and Jewel, yeah, we appreciate you. But yeah, that's my boy. That's my people. That's what I'm telling you. You know, I'm actually going to find me some New Balance and find me a little shirt like that there. And no name calling there, Charles. And Jerry Eve, yeah. Funnier than the joke. Yeah, that's part of it. So anyway, I'm going to find my people. I'm glad I could make you laugh today. That was hilarious. MP, we're going to work on your, humor. All right?
Oh, please.
You have a wonderful day, MP.
Bye.
All right, my philosophy, folks. Don't go anywhere. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to get serious. We've got Omar Dill coming up. Do not go anywhere. Give us about 3 minutes, 21 seconds. No, 2 minutes, 12 seconds. Yeah, let's go with 2 minutes.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
Hi there, welcome to Medical House. We're located at number 6 Bakery Lane. I can't wait to show you all of the great stuff that we carry. Come on inside, let's see. Long days, long shifts, you no longer have to endure comfortable underwear. Designed by nurses, we now offer premium undergarments by Swoop that are unique, fun, comfortable, and functional. The only underwear you'll ever want to wear. Who says high-quality functional products can't be stylish and comfortable at the same time?
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick, tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
Unlock your business potential with BDC's General Micro Loan, offering up to $30,000 for Bermudian small and medium businesses. Whether it's for inventory, working capital, or equipment, we provide 100% guarantee on approved loans. Simple application, low interest rates, and fast processing. Apply today and make your business dream come true.
Bermuda heat is no joke. Is your AC ready for summer? A quick tune-up now can keep you cool, save energy, and prevent costly breakdowns later. Call 2920881 or book your service online at bac.bm.
All righty, welcome back to the big show. It's Jamel, the funny man, Hartman, Mia Chambray. It's the Daily Hour, brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medicals, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. Folks, don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part as we continue to improve our community. Without further ado, let's bring our guest today. Give a warm TDH welcome. He's been on before. He's the chairman of the Free Democratic Movement. Let's give a warm TDH welcome to Omar Dill. Omar, good morning. Greetings.
Hey, how you doing? I'm good. How you guys doing today?
Good.
Good morning.
Everybody's in a good mood. You know, I shared one of my favorites with them, and they're still laughing and joking around, and you know, I try to give them some humor sometimes. Omar, man, you know, it's not easy out in these, you know, political streets. It's a bit serious. But I got to ask you though, do you have a green thumb?
A little bit, yeah, a little bit, of course.
Okay. Well, what have you grown before?
Before, I'm growing everything. Before, what I have in the ground right now, I got cassava. I'm going to replant some cassava. It runs on a 2-year cycle. So my plan is to have cassava for every Christmas. I got some sweet potatoes in the ground and a couple of little herbs and stuff like that.
Okay. All right. See, again, I joke, but I'm serious. But I mean, when I saw the amount of people in the audience who actually grow food, it gives me hope that we know that sometimes our way out is, you know, on ourselves, right? So take that out of the hands of other people. If you have space, I mean, again, there was a time when people thought you needed to own a lot of land to grow your own food. That's no longer the case. You can do stuff in pots and different things. So hopefully that's a response and an answer for the cost of living for so many, if they're able. But switching gears, as you know, we've been talking about, it's been 1 month today since the January election. When we agreed to have you on, didn't even realize that legit came up with that question this morning, 18 to 18. But what was your initial feeling after the final results came in on February 18th, on the election night? Like what was the feeling from yourself and your colleagues in the FDM?
So I say my initial feeling, first time candidate, obviously, and being in the room, you're hearing the names go off, and before the final count, you kind of knew, you know, in my constituency at least, we knew where it was going. So it was obviously you want to be in, right? But the people, they made their choice, And I think more importantly for me, there are people who voted for me. So for those people, I felt like I need to continue and kind of make sure that I'm being true to my word. One of the biggest criticisms that I heard was they were kind of looking for us to be more consistent over the last 4 or 5 years. So going forward, what people are asking for is that we continue to stay consistent.
So when the numbers came in, though, I mean, you obviously reflect, and as you said, lessons. What were some of the lessons for yourself and the FDM? You as a first-time candidate and the FDM, second time around. What would you say as you reflect were some of the lessons that you've learned that you can carry on?
I would say that the larger the team you have, the better you will do. The current ruling government, they are the biggest party on the island, and that makes a real difference. When you look at all of the constituencies where they won, they got about the same amount of votes, 400 or so, right? And I think that speaks to their loyal core of membership, which you have to appreciate over, 50, 60 years of building a party. So, for us now, I think that is the blueprint. I would encourage the whole island to take note of is that, you have to build your movement. So that's what we've been trying to do for those people who support us. We've been reaching out and we continue to reach out to say, hey, come be a member. Whether you want to be behind the scenes, there's a very important roles in any organization. And if you want to be in front of the scenes, we welcome that too.
Audience, if you have any questions or comments for Omar, send them through. We'll get through as many questions and comments as we can. Sorry, Mia.
Oh, no, it's okay. Yes, please send them in for Omar. Hi, Omar. Good morning.
Hello.
How are
Nice
you?
to meet you. I'm good.
Nice to meet you too. It's been wonderful following your journey, and congratulations on your first electoral cycle. Very impressive and took a lot of courage. Absolutely. After the election, there was a picture shared with the premier and Mark Dean. Were you there, first of all? And what was all that about?
So no, I wasn't present. That is one of the things we've been talking about for a good bit. As early as May, June last year, we seek to work with everybody, right? So in working with everybody, if you got a phone call, which we did, the premier reached out, I believe it was Monday or Tuesday of that week, and said he wanted to have a sit down, leader to leader. So, we welcome those types of conversations. We believe that, or what I would say he said from his words is that he appreciated in the way that we operated throughout the campaign. He did take note of many of our policies. Some things are in the throne speech. So, it's an opportunity to collaborate. We look at everybody, not necessarily as competition, but we want to collaborate as much as possible because at the end of the day, it's not about party lines. It's more about making sure the country is in a better place. So that is the number one reason why we exist, to hold the government accountable, to become a government invading. And both of those things can happen whether we are in parliament or not.
The morning was, we spoke about not only the government, but the government as a collective. So what will the opposition be doing to hold the current elected government's feet to the fire? Now, one of the concerns about the public regarding the FDM was after the 2020 election, FDM seemed to have kind of just disappeared and then came back, obviously for the 2025 election. Now, what are your plans to remain engaged this time for the next 4 to 5 year cycle?
Yeah, so great question. That's a question that gets asked all the time. So we want to stay active. We want to stay visible. That is the number one thing that I personally got on the doorstep is we need to make sure we keep seeing you. We need to make sure we keep seeing you. So our plan is to keep canvassing, which we have. Many, if not all of our candidates have been out on their respective constituencies, continue to knock. We want to have a couple of events. One thing that we believe is really needed in the island is political education. And also just education about how Bermuda operates. You guys spoke earlier about the governor. Bermuda is one of the very few overseas territories that don't have a local deputy governor, right? Little things like this is that because we operate in a colonial system, we have very little power over how our country is governed. So from an educational point of view, in the FDM, we want to change a lot of those things. And it starts from just allowing people to learn about how our country operates.
Indeed. And just sticking to accountability, though, I mean, unfortunately, the FDM did not have any one succeed in becoming a member of parliament in this election. So how do you plan on holding the government accountable despite not having any presence in the House or Senate?
I can say this, I wholeheartedly believe this, is that since, let's say, the last 8-9 months, I believe the FDM has moved the country further than the OBA has moved the country in the last 5 years. And I say that from a point of view of when we say things, people listen, right? When, whether that be policy-wise and the government is now changing their narrative, or whether that be organizations who are reaching out directly to us. We had the taxi drivers who reached out to us. We've had fishermen reach out to us. We've had tourism entities reach out to us, right? People understand that if the FDM says it, it's actually listened to. The government takes heed. And I think that's because we are considered, as you said earlier, the only real threat to the PLP.
Indeed. We've got some questions from the audience. Charles H. Jeffs II, he's asking, what are the FDM's thoughts on immigration and emigration, and how should they be addressed?
Yeah, very simple. People are leaving for obvious reasons. Bermuda is not an easy place to live in. And cost of living is out of control, crime, education. It's a lot of risks to actually continuing to operate in this way. So to answer your question, the threats to emigration, is to just make Bermuda an easier place to live in. That might mean getting a chicken farm and making sure we can have our own eggs. That might mean victory gardens in every neighborhood. That might mean Tulio Valley, turning that into something that can produce food, whether that be for our seniors or just people in general. So Bermuda has a lot of resources, a lot of options. I think currently we depend on external things too much. There's not much self-sufficiency on a large scale. So, and then to your second part of your question, what's my views or what's our views on immigration? The question that I would ask is, well, first I would say, I don't believe that somebody who has first-class citizenship in another country should be granted second-class citizenship in Bermuda. And I will go on to say that, how can I put this? My question to the people as it relates to immigration is, are we okay becoming first-class citizens in our own country? And for anyone who doesn't understand what that means, is that's independence. Bermudians are not citizens of Bermuda. We're subjects of the British Crown. So before we go talking about giving second-class citizenship to somebody who already possesses citizenship in another country, I think we really need to look at how we treat our own people and, where we intend to head as a country.
Yeah. You're looking at Bermuda passport. It doesn't say Bermudian. British Overseas Territory citizen. Shamari Sky says, what's the plan to build the base? Is helping Bermudians achieve financial independence one of the FDM's goals?
So, and that's another good question. That's one of a thing that came up in our debriefs is, there's things like potlucks that political parties tend to have and town halls, but we're trying to create a little more of a tangible benefit to people. So a couple of candidates have done this and started this process, but that looks like organizing groups of people, whether that be in neighborhoods or nationally, to create maybe buying programs to say, go to Point Mart and say, hey, look, we want to get 100 residents together. Can you offer a discount? Can you offer, I think it's Watson's Farm used to do the grocery bags, right? Where you sign up in advance, it allows the business owner to have a guaranteed, set profit, so to speak. And it creates a bit more of a community environment around a particular business, a particular product. So things like that, we're going to seek to push to remind people that community is how we really get by. The whole individual or independent movement, right? Bermuda didn't get her through independence or through doing things solo. As I mentioned earlier, with the PLP as a party, organization is where we get our real power. That might be organization on a national level. So we are collaborating and going overseas and talking to the people who make Hunt's ketchup to try and get a cheaper rate for Hunt's ketchup. I'm just using that as an example. But we need to pool our resources. There are a lot of entities like the friendly societies who've done this historically. When we look at our cricket clubs and our community clubs, these buildings, these organizations were built off of community. Cup Match is a great example. Without community, Cup Match wouldn't exist. So we're seeking to replicate a lot of the things that worked for Bermudians in the past.
Indeed, I think that's a great way to go. Charles H. Jefferson says, he says, leader Mark Bean had indicated after the C-36 by-election that the combined opposition should work together. Many were surprised to see FDM candidates in C-36 and C-2, where there were also OBA and independents. I guess, I mean, on the back of that, I mean, how was the collaboration? Is there any intent to work with independents or maybe the OBA now, or is the intent to focus on building the FDM's base?
I'll speak on the independent piece first. I strongly believe that it's in the country's best interest and also the independents' best interest if they seek to align themselves with a party, whether that be FDM, PLP, or OBA. That's the first piece. I would say going forward, again, we're always open to collaboration. Collaboration is meeting with the premier, as Mark did on Friday, or a couple of Fridays ago now, right? So collaboration can look very different, and we take all phone calls. We're open to speaking to all entities. It's really about making the country better, right? So I have an allegiance to Bermuda. I don't have an allegiance to one particular party.
Indeed. We have Misha Fabulous said Tom Oppenheim is the deputy premier. Governor.
Deputy governor.
Yeah, deputy governor.
And he is from where?
Not Bermuda.
That's my point. So Bermuda is one of the only, if not the only, overseas territory that does not have a local deputy governor.
Indeed.
Bermuda is also, since we're talking about this, one of the very few overseas territories who pay for everything. That white suit that the governor wears, right? All of these pomp and circumstance, we pay for that. Other overseas territories are not doing these same things. So we got to first we got to learn, and then we got to reassess, well, is this necessary? Can this money be better spent? Should our focus be on something different? So there's a lot of education that needs to happen first before we really move to making decisions about changes.
I want to switch gears really quickly to tourism, because the FDM produced, they spoke out about the state of tourism recently. Maya just shared a report on tourism this morning. It seems like between the Bermuda Progressive Labour Party, the One Bermuda Alliance, and the FDM, there seems like almost a shared enemy in the BTA. Why did the FDM feel the need to provide a statement regarding the state of the Bermuda Tourism Authority? And what do you intend to do to ensure that there's some sort of change regarding the organization?
Tourism has been a weak point in Bermuda for a good bit, right? I believe the BTA was established in 2014, if I'm not mistaken. And since then, our tourism numbers have only gone down. There's a lot of talk about pre-pandemic numbers, and pre-pandemic numbers were lower than 2014 numbers, right? Or thereabouts. So the place where we're at now, the BTA seemed to try and paint a picture that things are going well, and I think it's misleading the public, especially when one of their replies was, oh, well, South P is no longer operational and we lost another major hotel. Our occupancy numbers, I believe, are like 64%. 64% hotel occupancy. If we had a problem with hotel beds from a supply point of view, then that number should be 80, 90%, right? So the market, so to speak, is not missing the additional hotel beds. Most definitely when South Peak comes online, they're going to get a lot of group business. I expect tourism to definitely increase. But the fact of the matter is we are not doing well. Our product is not doing well. When we look at other jurisdictions, Maya is actually great at doing this type of research. But if she was to look at other tourism jurisdictions, they have like 5x their numbers since the pandemic. right? Millions of travelers all over the Bahamas, Cayman Islands, etc., etc. So Bermuda is not doing well, and I believe it comes down to investing in our product compared to, and again, let's quote David Barrett, putting a fish sandwich on a billboard. It's a big difference between those two things. Our product is when you walk into the airport in Bermuda and the guy used to pay the steel pan, right? That's our product. Our product is tourists who want to be places where Bermudians are. Our product is just the feel-good factor, the feel-good vibe. And again, speaking to stakeholders within the industry, I spoke to a rental bike company. There were about 6,000 more rental bikes available 20 years ago. Tourism, it's not in a good place, right? So the solution, and again, the BTA actually said this in their reply. They said that they have all of the stakeholders around the table already. Our solution is great. Remove the high-paid executives and remove the BTA. Allow the stakeholders to do what's best for the industry, because it is my thought that the stakeholders know what's best for the industry. The BTA is getting in the way.
You know, you said something you said a lot, well, all of it I agree with, having my experience there, but I want to go back to something you said regarding 2019, because again, I think the comparison is, okay, so let's compare pre-pandemic numbers. Now, it's important to remember what Omar just said. The pre-pandemic numbers 2019 was not that great, especially comparing to earlier numbers. But I want to share something I said the other day, because I don't want us to miss this point. And I'm very direct, and sometimes that offends people. And there will people be offended by what I'm about to say and read. But this is a tweet I shared the other day, because I feel like there's this narrative being painted, right? And what I said on March 14th on Twitter X is, there's a narrative out there that the BTA was better under white leadership. That's a lie. The organization has always been political, spent recklessly, and delivered poor results, comparatively speaking. A major difference is they used data to confuse people a bit better before, right? And I don't want anyone to sit here and think that the organization was great because they had a white leader in Kevin Dallas. I don't want them to think because they had a non-Bermudian white man in Bill Hembury, it was a better organization. That's not how this works. And that's the biggest lie, I think, that this narrative. And I've seen certain PR people in the media out there trying to paint this picture that this is down to allowing Black people to manage something. No, it's not. Maybe the wrong Black people, but it's not down to Black people can't manage money or an organization at the state that the BTA is in. So I just want to correct that narrative and basically emphasize and amplify what you said, that the organization has always been what it is. And part of that is, you know, the OBA continuously say, get government out of it. Well, you can't say get government out of it when the person you appointed as the first chairman, David Dodwell, was someone that the people said they no longer wanted to mess with in 2007, when he was surprisingly at the time beaten by Zandy Silva. So, you know, this is the hypocrisy I'm talking about. So in fixing it, I absolutely love what you're saying, but we can't allow these narratives to be told as if it was great before. Because I see the comments on the Royal Gazette stories, even under you guys thing. Oh, they should have just kept Kevin Dallas, or it should have been that. Nah, he was trash too. The organization has never produced. And as you clearly stated, just look at the numbers. They did a hell of a job making you believe they did great things. Ask me how I know.
Yeah, you raised some good points. And just for clarity, Bermuda needs government in tourism, right? We need a department of tourism to operate. However, the things that the BTA is spending on, right, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't translate to what we needed to translate to. And we see this as a problem government-wide. It's almost like not almost, it is, it's a tax and spend. Let's tax you here, and let's spend money, and then we can say, well, we've raised this and we spent more money on that, and the value, the accountability isn't there, right? So that's not just a BTA problem, right? But it's an accountability problem. And from where we see it, when you have a large government, you got to increase taxes. And It's kind of no way around that from this current style of governance. The difference from an FDM point of view is we seek to allow people to spend their own money. So when the Chamber of Commerce comes out and talks about the very real risks with this current Thurn speech, right, we have also echoed those sentiments in our policies. And we believe that we need to allow the business people to do business. The more you seek to control and restrict, you're going to create supply shortages. And we've seen these types of things in countries like Zimbabwe and Venezuela, right? It doesn't end well. It never ends well. And I think the policies are well-intentioned, but misguided.
Indeed. We got a few more questions, Omar, in the audience. I just want to say this because I meant to touch on this as well. Nicole Walker said, thank you for mentioning occupancy levels, because I was thinking the same thing and expecting hotels to be at full capacity. Latest numbers are lower than pre-pandemic levels. Occupancy is that's the true numbers people need to be looking at. And I thank you for mentioning it, Nicole, because I want to follow up on that. You can't say we're doing great and the occupancy level is 60-something%. That's just, and people, if you don't understand what occupancy level is basically the percentage of rooms that are taken up at any given time. The other thing is the comparison. I want to touch on that, the comparison in terms of, okay, well, Bermuda's doing so well in tourism. Let's compare that to the Cayman Islands. Let's compare that to Turks and Caicos. Let's compare that to some small town in Iowa as well. That's when you see how well Bermuda's doing or not. Let's go back to the audience. Mark Arthur C. Phillips asking, Mr. Dill, what does the FDM, or does the FDM have a plan to develop a third pillar for the economy?
Yes, definitely. So when you say a third pillar, I think overall we need more economic activity. And again, I mentioned what the other side wants to do, and I want to really focus on what we would seek to do. So small things that are easy to accomplish, like lowering duty. Lowering duty will put more money in people's pockets to allow people to enter into businesses. So we do not want to dictate as a government of where that third pillar should be. We've seen in the past where the government might say, fintech is going to be the next thing, or we have faith-based tourism, or all of these things that never materialize. And we believe it has to be the country that's dictating it to the government, and the government paving the way, right? Government didn't create international business. Government might have made it easier for international business to start and thrive, right? So from a third pillar point of view, we do have in our policies some things that could be, good examples, but essentially it's just creating an environment where people can take risks. I think what we really need is a ship that goes to the Caribbean, right? That's going to take businesses, investors coming together and creating that, right? I think we need telemedicine in Bermuda. I think there are a lot of different things that I think we need. Offshore fishing. We have 2 or 3 large fishing tournaments. I know there's a tuna ground located just off of Bermuda. I think it's estimated about $300 million worth of tuna per year. Mm-hmm. So these are potentials. But again, it shouldn't be up to the government to tell the people what they need to do. It should be up to government to get out of the way, reduce taxes, make the education system better, ensure infrastructure is working. It's government's jobs to do the basics, to provide housing, for example. Once these basic necessities are met, people will seek to naturally take risks, enter into businesses, and do their own thing, so to speak.
Yeah, and I think Nika Shields just asked, it's like, how about a ship to bring fresh produce from the Caribbean to Bermuda directly? See, I think we're on the same page. I think, and this is no disrespect to you, Omar, but I think what you're basically saying is not rocket science, right?
It's not. It's really not. It's really not. And from a policy point of view, I encourage everybody, fdmbda.com, have a read through our policies. And this is transparency to say the PLP has a read, the OBA has a read. We want everybody to have a read, because for me, it's not ego-based. I don't have to do these things. The FDM does not have to do these things. But we've laid out these policies so simply that any politician can go on right now, draft a bill, and get a easy win for their particular party.
You know what's interesting about what you just said? It was like 3 weeks ago. We must ask the question about what policies of the FDM and OBA and independence would you like to see the PLP implement? And it was a very quiet show in it. We learned that a lot of people were not reading the platforms or policies or ideas. And it's sad because it just proved that so many of our decisions are made on emotion, right? When you understand that, how do you approach that, like as a political entity?
I mean, that's the FDM's fault. That's the FDM's fault. I would say David Barrett in particular does a great job at repeating his talking points. I think it was on your show maybe a couple of weeks ago where you mentioned that, like, every time he has an interview, you hit the 7 key points, over and over, and everybody remembers them, whether they're true, whether they're false, whether they're important, it doesn't matter. So we need to do a better job from an FDM point of view in repeating our talking points, in hammering home our policies, right? So that's work that needs to be done for sure.
Yeah, indeed. Omar, I know you got to go, but a couple things from the audience. We've got Michelle White. Omar, I like the idea of educating the public and also the view that our tourism issues need to be left to the industry partners. My question is about funding. How would you propose our tourism product be funded yet remain outside of the political influence?
So again, there needs to be a Department of Tourism from a government point of view, because it's one of our key parts of our economy. So we need to make sure that the government is involved in some way. However, when we talk about removing government from like a BTA point of view, it's the big boys around the table, whether that be the hotels, the restaurant groups, the airlines. They would fund the tourism authority. They would get themselves in a magazine or put that billboard up in Times Square showing a fish sandwich, right? They are the ones that seek to gain the most, really. So they are the ones who should be funding it. No, nobody funds marketplaces, billboards, or advertisements in the newspaper, right? Marketplace wins when people shop at Marketplace. So Marketplace has a vested interest in advertising to the most benefit of their bottom line, essentially.
And I want to touch on something because Charles H. Jefferson, he says, agreed, the BTA should not be producing local events such as Vegan Fest, Seafood Fest, etc., as those events have not been successful and bring people to Bermuda and likely would not in the future. I probably would disagree a bit, and I'll tell you why. I was just talking to a friend last night who went to Barbados recently for her birthday, and then you speak to people who've been to TCI and experienced their fish fry. I don't think people are necessarily going for the fish fry and different things, but it's great to have them should people be there and there's nothing to do. Now, again, I agree that the BTA shouldn't be the ones. The BTA is the marketing organization. Your job is to, create a space that allows people to. It should be a sales organization, in my opinion, like driving sales, because you can tie that a bit more. And I like the piece where we're not paying to market other people. That may, like what you just said, but I do think it doesn't hurt to have those events there that exist. I just think maybe they should fall under culture, rather than Bermuda tourism. But I appreciate that. We've got this. I usually ask this question last, but Mark's asking, Mr. Dill, people want to get in touch with you. Like, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Vote at fdmbermuda.com.
All right. Vote at fdmbermuda.com. Before you head out, one of the things I missed the Honorable Mark being chatting on the radio recently, but apparently minimum wage came up.
Yeah.
As you all know, I'm not a fan of minimum wage. I just think it's counterproductive. Never thought that it was in the best interest of an employee. But where does the Free Democratic Movement stand on minimum wage?
So minimum wage, the minimum wage in Bermuda, the government has attempted to make it at $16.40. But what I like to say is that the minimum wage in Bermuda is $0. That is the minimum wage. If you look at our unemployment rate, if you look at our underemployment rate, if you look at our youth unemployment rate, they're all fairly high, right? Minimum wage does not guarantee that those people got a job. So we do not support the minimum wage. Also, in the way that it has been implemented, it doesn't work. Companies are taking tips from employees and putting it to make up their minimum wage. Tips is traditionally your own money in your own pocket. So what we want to see is less costs for the business to allow people to have more money, to allow people to spend more money. Just health insurance. If you're a small business, a big part of your cost is paying your full-time employees health insurance. So what we see a lot in the job market is a lot of unofficial employees, a lot of part-time, full-time, or part-time contract, or all these little loopholes that business owners are now exploiting to avoid paying health insurance, to avoid paying quote unquote minimum wage, or business owners are laying off people. I believe it was Mauricio Thomas. He had an interview and he was saying that before minimum wage came into effect, his businesses started practicing it. And he said one of two things he had to do. He either had to reduce margins, which no business owner wants to do that, or he had to hire less people or have less hours. So when you have these things, when you have things like minimum wage, when you have things like rent control, it actually creates a shortage in the thing that you're trying to control. These are basic economic principles across the world. And you can look at examples of where all of these things have been bared in other countries. I don't understand why we would seek to do or follow in a trajectory that hasn't served other countries well.
It sounds good. It makes people feel good. I think that's one of the things that it's done. Again, I've always been against the idea. I think it's something that has caught on amongst a certain group where they think it's beneficial. I don't think we think beyond the surface on it. And I think it all comes down to also where we do our research as well, right? How we conduct our research that aligns with what we want to believe is best. But I just have not seen where minimum wage has really benefited the people who it's supposed to benefit.
Now, just a quick caveat. If Bermuda had an unemployment rate of maybe 1%, sure, let's look at minimum wage. But our unemployment rate is already too high. Our underemployment rate is already too high. Cost of living is too high. So can we survive if I get my 60 and 40 job, but maybe one of my coworkers gets laid off? How is the country better? How is the economy better if I now am like holding my pearls, clutching my pearls, so to speak, right? So these things, they sound good, but when you look at the data, when you ask Craig Simmons what he thinks about it, the answers are very clear.
Great segue, because I was literally just going to say I'd love to have the FDM back around budget time, but also we've got Craig Simmons coming on tomorrow, which will cover a lot of this as well. So interesting, because you read the mind, but I trust me, I gave Omar no script, folks. Trust me, he has not. That said, what would you say? I mean, look, again, Mia asked earlier, said, it seemed like the FDM wasn't around after the 2020 election. What would you say to people before you head out today in terms of like holding you accountable, the FDM as a political entity, although you don't necessarily have an appointed senator or an elected MP? What would you say to the people as far as holding you accountable into the fire?
Yeah, just look to hear from us, and if you do have issues, reach out, because as you said earlier, as many people believe, there is no real viable opposition that can challenge the PLP right now. And when I say challenge, it's not about challenging the PLP, more so about ensuring that the country stays on the right track, right? So that doesn't exist unless we are in the field, and we intend to be in the field. There was one question that I got, I just want to touch on real quick. When I say no local governor, I mean, we do not have a Bermudian deputy governor.
Oh, I understood the point, okay. And I think, but thank you for the clarity, because with I think somebody said it earlier, deputy governor is such and such, but I think they missed your point when you obviously meant Bermudian. Omar, thank you so much for today. We'll definitely be in touch, because want to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to speak on, regardless of party. That's PLP, FDM, OBA, independence. We want to keep the conversations ongoing, because the only way I believe we're going to make true progress is through collective a growth as people, but also accountability. And sometimes accountability comes across harsh and as criticism, and we don't like that. But thank you for making time and trusting this platform, and we look forward to speaking with you again soon.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, no problem. Omar Dill, folks, if you appreciated the conversation this morning, whether you're on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, or Instagram, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in about 1 minute, 55 seconds, and we'll have a daily play for you. It's a remember when. We don't have to go too far back. Stick with us.
Looking for the best care for your pets? Novazoc Feed and Supply has everything you need, from top quality foods to toys and supplies. We've got it all. Join our frequent buyer program and earn rewards every time you shop. Plus, we've been awarded the Clever Customer Initiative Program for helping you save more. And don't forget, we open an hour early on Saturdays so you can get a head start on your pet care. Visit us today or shop online for easy pickup or delivery. Your pets will thank you.
Join us as we celebrate 5 years and 1,000 plus episodes of community conversations on Bermuda's daily talk show. The Daily Hour Gala takes place on April 26th at LF Wade International Airport. For more information and advance tickets, please send an email to admin@bermudacommunications.com. We look forward to celebrating all that's great about our community with all of you.
Did you know 3 out of 4 people say that they have a good understanding of life insurance? But do they really? When asked how much the yearly cost would be for a 20-year, $250,000 level term life insurance policy for a healthy 30-year-old, 80% overestimated the cost by 5 times the amount. Ready for this? The true cost for that policy is about $220 a year. That's as little as 66 cents a day, or $20 a month. So let's put this into perspective. Compared to other monthly costs, isn't getting life insurance a no-brainer? If you can trim back on some of these expenses just a little bit, it will allow you to dedicate the savings toward an affordable life insurance policy. Contact one of our life insurance agents today to find the right policy for you.
All right, welcome back. Thanks again to Omar Dill, Free Democratic Movement, for trusting this platform to have a conversation. Thanks again to the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lenders, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring we can have these conversations with you on a regular basis. Folks, if you haven't already, make sure you give us a like, love, follow. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe or even join us, become a member of our YouTube channel. All right, it's time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. All right, audience, are you ready? Here we go, Mia. It's a remember when. All right, what year did the Free Democratic Movement first contest a general election?
2019.
What was that?
2020.
Oh, you went downhill. Yeah, it was 2020. Yes, Mark, Arthur C. Phillips, Karen Simmons, Stacey Ann Brown. Yes, 2020. It was 2020. They contested the 2020 election. I think everyone got it. All right. Let's wrap it up, Mia. I mean, final thoughts. Obviously, a month since the election, and then the conversation with Omar.
Well, I mean, it's amazing how the question and obviously our guest this morning really dovetailed into each other. You know, 1 month. We're 1 month in post-election, and it's interesting to see everybody's thoughts via the QR code. Doesn't seem like people are super confident in moving forward with the government. So we'll just see how everything pans out. And then in regards to Omar Dill, I mean, I love Omar as a guest. He interviews so well. He really does speak such common Bermudian sense, in my opinion. I think it really resonated with the audience this morning, and I'm really looking forward and hoping and praying that the FDM really do keep their stoke in the fire, so to speak, and that we do continue to hear from them for the next 4 to 5 years. That would be really exciting.
Indeed. I'll say this much. I think, you know, it's been a month since the election, and although the House just reconvened, as mentioned earlier, so much has happened. I need people to understand that their voice goes beyond the vote. I think we focus so much on the vote that we forget our true power. Our true power is in engaging the process. I know things may not go our way more times than they will, but that's part of the process. Until we do enough to change that, that's what it's going to be. So I just want people to feel encouraged and empowered that, you know, the governance and the government is a reflection of us and our actions beyond election day. As far as Omar and the FDM, I'm encouraged. I do believe that you will see they'll be more visible. I do believe that they'll be more engaged. I think, you know, the lessons have been there. My hope is that there can be collaboration, and not just with the opposition, those who are not running the government, but with the government as well. I know that the picture with the Premier David Byrd and the Honorable Mark B may have upset some people, but I'm encouraged by it. I'm encouraged. I just hope that it's not optics. I just hope that it's not a picture that's just showing up. I hope that it's something that is going to be ongoing and something that we, the Bermudian people, are truly going to benefit from going forward. So, Nia, you got some daily inspiration for the people?
Yes, actually, I heard a song this morning and I thought it would be the perfect inspiration for the people. It's a song by the Youngbloods, and the line from it is, "Come on, people now, smile on your brother, everybody get together, try to love one another right now."
All right.
There you go. So that's the quote for the day.
You got a song. That's what I'm talking about. Quoting song. We don't get much better than that, folks. Don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical Oils, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy, for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. She's Mia Chambray. I'm Jamel Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. We are out. Peace.